Welcome back to another episode of Blueprints to Punchlist podcast, where we discuss everything related to commercial construction, healthcare construction, and in today's episode, we wanted to bring you a topic that we discuss literally every single day here, and that is what happens when healthcare systems expand. I have my co-host here with me today, Ken, and my name is Dave Grosz. But welcome back, and Ken, how's it going today?
Going good. I can't complain.
Okay. Again, this is a topic when healthcare systems expand. We've seen it. We live this on a day-to-day basis, working with some of the largest hospitals systems in the country, and there's a shift that we've started to notice in the last, say, 3-4 years, and where it was really at the forefront of it, and now it's much more prevalent. But that is, these healthcare systems are taking their footprint away from the traditional centrally located hospital tower to spreading out all over the city, strategically putting in locations for their clinics, for their ambulatory surgery centers, and really just having this expanded footprint around their main hospital. And it's I think it's more than a trend now. It's happening. It's full on. And so we wanted to come on here in this podcast and talk about some of those implications for what are some of the things that we're doing that is helping, and the feedback that we're getting from our clients is what are they seeing as far as what's working, and what are some of those things that we're doing to keep these projects under budget and maintaining their timelines for construction. So yeah, I'm going to throw it over to you. Just open it up with your thoughts on that topic.
Yeah. So, historically speaking, we've done for, a long time, over 2 decades now, a lot of the outpatient medical stuff, right? But historically speaking, it's been mainly for your small groups that own clinics within a certain market, or your larger groups, the insurance companies that own clinics throughout the U.S., right? More so, to your point, there's been a shift where I think hospital systems are looking at how they can keep folks in network, expand their footprint without, it costs a lot of money to build a hospital, right? And you can kind of get in some different markets, test different markets, and move at a quicker rate if you focus on the outpatient to kind of keep folks in network, right? So that's medical office buildings, surgical centers, ambulatory care, small ERs, primary care facilities. That outpatient umbrella has a lot of things under it, right? But it's just really a smaller footprint, and kind of with the goal, I think, from my perspective in mind, to bring care closer to where the patients are.
Yeah, and yeah, to your point, it is a varied everything from that primary care to specialty care to surgeries to just medical office buildings, and they're looking at everything. One of the reasons getting the right properties, they're having, a lot of them are fighting for the same space because the availability of some of these real estate is limited. They all want the same type of buildings, and the closer to their center of operation, or some all over the place. But what are some of those? Well, actually, I could start with this. So to me, the number one indicator for success when we're building out an infrastructure for a hospital group or an insurance group, or even a private equity-backed healthcare firm that are looking to expand our most success is when they call us early.
Sure. Sure.
So that early engagement to get the GC involved, get their thoughts, get their take, get their familiarity with the right team, making sure they get eyes on the space, and that has been one of the key factors. When we come in late, when we have a deadline to meet, and the project has been bid out to multiple GCs, and now permitting has stalled, and the procurement of some key components like electrical panels, AC units, all that, those key components are what makes us successful when we're involved in those projects early enough. So what are some of the things that you deem as important when getting involved early? What are we, the conversations that you're seeing from your end on that?
Yeah. So I think from a client's perspective, right, it's important to partner with the right GC developer, whoever it is, whatever your need is. It's important to partner with the right folks, right? So, but I think you can do that early on, right? What really distinguishes the GCs, it's not really the numbers that we're getting from subs for GCs similar to how we operate, right? Not necessarily self-performing, right? It's really, what are the general conditions? What does it take for you as a GC from a cost perspective to take this on a weekly basis? And then what's your track record? What have you done that is along these lines? Do you have the track record to support, a successful endeavor, right? And then it goes into, some of the other details, your insurance that you carry, so safety ratings for some folks, bonding capacity, and financial wherewithal to kind of take this on and help projects move at speed. But once you check that box, I don't think I could stress enough to bring that person in, bring that company in as soon as humanly possible. And I mean from the point of, hey, we think we're going to establish a center or a location here in this zip code in this certain radius, right? Like even at that point in time, right? Certain GCs have different things that they help with, right? We, can help at that point in time. Other GCs may just want, to or be able to help with the construction side. Great, but bring them in, in the design process. I know they're not doing the design necessarily, right? Or they maybe design build, but even if it's not, bring them in when that process starts so that there's flexibility and there's input from an execution perspective and what you're putting on paper. Because, to your point, when you get to a point of this is drawn, it is what it is, it's going out to multiple GCs, you don't have the as much of the ability to kind of move and shift based off the pricing or schedule implications as you would need to. Right. When you have those conversations early on, it helps from both a time perspective and a cost perspective.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, those are the cost and the time, and a lot of times that we're seeing too is by getting in early enough, we can help with their capital expenditure, making sure that their budgets are aligned with what their actual costs will be on a project, and that's just a huge part of it, right? Like they have numbers, they have budgets that they want to meet, and without an early involvement, it's much more difficult to reel that in.
Right. Yeah. And for us, it's go back to even at the stage of a zip code and a radius, and a thought, right? It's like, okay, got it. Is there available property or buildings that fit your need? Is there not? What does that look like? Is it does leasing make the most sense? Does building make the most sense? We have a lot of partners that their expertise is in a lot of other areas that may help, may add value, right? So I think the early engagement is good, depending on the need, depending on who you're working with, but the earlier the better.
Yeah, and the other thing too is just with that early engagement, and I know we keep harping on that, but it really does help to also help with the strategies to control the risks that they're going to see. Again, these are not hospitals that we're talking about. These are the 3, 4, 10,000, 15,000 square foot spaces that are going into an existing shopping center, taking over an old CVS, a Bed Bath and Beyond, which those have the great footprints for some of our clients, and coming in and remodeling it. So the the implications are, you're probably going to have to upgrade your electrical system, new HVACs, upgrade the water line. So some of this infrastructure coming into the space, and then just structurally, what are those key components that can have significant impact on the project, like steel requirements, any structural issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah, yeah, and they're unique, right? Like, I could never go. I couldn't go out tomorrow. I won't say never. I couldn't go out tomorrow and go build a hospital and be successful in it, right? That is a very intricate process. It's a very involved process, long process. One that I have not been through, but one that we've been through a lot, right? Is that situation that you laid out, which is typically for a primary care client in that setting, right? We've done that a lot, and we know how to do that at speed, right? A lot of those we're completing in 12, 14, 16 weeks from the word go on site. Now, we can incorporate, design into that, and it lengthens that process for sure. But, I think the advantage, to some of this, more of this outpatient footprint is the speed to market and the ability to get things moving quick, something that, we've done a lot of, and we know how to sequence things and do things in that manner to get there. And somewhere I think we add value for the hospital systems and the health systems and folks in general. We get to do it often. We get to do it every day, and it's doesn't always feel like a get to do it every day, but we've done it a lot, so we understand the challenges and can work through those, hopefully ahead of time, but certainly in real time if need be, to keep things moving at speed.
Yeah, and again, some of the conversations that we're hearing is when you hire outside help, when you don't have your construction team from this hospital group on these expansion projects in house, but you hire a third party, whether it's a construction management company, a GC that you trust, working with a trusted architect. That's what it comes down to. Is a lot of these projects, because they're so similar. Again, primary care, once you have that program down, it really is just making it fit to the space. So the architects can be let loose, turn the design around in 3 to 4 weeks, going for permitting with a private provider, especially here in Florida. Then as the GC, like you said, we can come and turn these around in 14 to 16 weeks, which it's all like there's no lag time, because as the drawings are come out, we're going through the permitting because we have familiarity with the program. Our subs understand the scope, and we're able to just compress timelines. And that's what makes it a huge benefit, that instead of having, some of these processes in-house where you're red taped, if you will, by just all the different hoops that or all the boxes that have to be checked. Hiring somebody who's an expert in this field, it really does make a difference in the speed to market and controlling the budgets and and also just the timeline implications.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I like to think so, right? And there are many, many, many other companies that can do the same thing, right? I think it goes down to finding the right partner, getting with them early on, and executing.
Yeah. And that's really, again, the point of this video and this conversation is to just understanding, that there is other ways out there. If you are with a healthcare system, or if you're with a private equity backed healthcare group that's looking to expand, just know that there's professionals out there who you don't have to find a GC in every market that you go into. There are ones, and like Ken said, there's a lot of great ones out there. We're certainly put our name in that bucket, as far as able to meet those deadlines and have the track record. But just make sure you have those conversations and know that there is options out there. It's there are people who are doing this at a very high level and are able to meet those deadlines and having these projects delivered in a timely fashion, who really know what they're doing. So that's really the point of this conversation. We're always happy to help if there is a project that's coming up or you have an expansion into a new market that you're looking for. We're happy to answer any questions you have, and be just a resource in any way. Our estimating team, our entire staff, and the way we're built is to support these projects as they're coming in, and to be able to execute them at a high level. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're the Wilson and Company team. This is the Blueprints to Punchlist podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.